Welcome everybody. We're absolutely delighted to be here today to share some evaluation headlines from the Creating Caring Cultures Fellowship for Registered Learning Disabilities Nurses for the Foundation of Nursing Studies. I'm joined today by my fabulous evaluation team. My name is Carrie Jackson. I'm Director of the Impact Research Group at the University of East Anglia. And joining me is Daniel and Lynn, so I'm just going to enable them to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Carrie. My name is Lynn Furber. I'm Director and CEO of Healthcare Communication Matters, a not-for-profit organisation.
And my name is Daniel Marsden. I'm Senior Lecturer and Professional Lead of Learning Disabilities at Canterbury Christchurch University.
So our role in this initiative has been to undertake an independent analysis and evaluation of the experiences of participants and facilitators that have completed 4 cohorts of the programme between January 2021 and June 2022. And the facilitators of the programme have collected data from all of the creative learning methods, which has been anonymised at source and then shared with us through a secure platform. All of the participants on the programme have been enabled to either opt in or opt out of having their data looked at, and it has complied with university ethics regulations. And although we're presenting some headlines for you today, in our final report, we'll be creating an implementation and impact framework to enable FoNS to make a strong case for further investment and sustainability of the programme, to contribute to the continuing development of the learning disability workforce for the future. And that will capture the enablers, the key strategies, impacts and outcomes for individual participants, for teams, services and whole organisations. So thinking about the key insights from the programme, we had 55 participants who completed the programme whose data we've analysed. 48 people identified as female and 7 identified as male. The average length of time on the NMC register was 2 to 5 years, and practitioners were from a broad range of roles and contexts across England. So we had 4 evaluation questions that we had posed. The first was how the programme had impacted the professional development, quality of life and well-being of participants. The second, how it had enabled them to consolidate their career plans. The third, how it had had a wider impact on person-centred practices, team working and workplace culture. And the fourth was around the barriers and challenges to learning and development that might have been experienced by participants and how to improve and strengthen the programme for future cohorts. And during the programme, participants engaged in a number of creative learning methods using a wide range of tools that are identified here. And these methods formed the backbone, if you like, of our process and impact evaluation and are all the data sets that we looked at for all of those participants. So there were 6 key themes in terms of areas of impact. The first was about how the programme has helped to develop self-awareness and self-confidence of participants. The second, their facilitation and leadership skills. The third was around the creative methods that helped to facilitate reflection in, through and on practice. The fourth was around self-improvement and career progression. The fifth, support networks and overcoming challenges together. And the final one is impact on teams and services. So I'm going to hand over now to my colleague Daniel, who's going to talk about the first of these themes.
Thank you, Carrie. The first of these themes is self-awareness and self-confidence. These quotes reveal the journey that participants have been on, the contributions that they were previously able to make, and the difference the course and the programme has supported in their development, and how these tools and mechanisms that the programme has resulted in their presentation in the practice setting. This has developed passions for their practice topics and for taking on extra education and leadership roles. This growth in self-awareness has had the impact for participants to identify the type of nurses they aspire to be. You can see from the quotes that participants have adapted their approaches, extended their toolkits for problem solving, and supported staff around them in a very different way. Similarly, Having been exposed and reflecting on the skills required to ensure practice is person-centred and how this supports the development of workplace culture, participants were able to apply creative methods in practice, reaching out beyond usual team boundaries, developing mutually beneficial relationships with service providers, and creating win-win situations for the people that they support and care for, as these quotes illustrate. This programme has been a catalyst for participants, for themselves, the people and the nurses they aspire to be, and the roles where they can influence the quality of services and the care that's provided. Career progression. This has resulted in role development, writing for publication, influencing the regional and national agendas, progressing their education and learning in practice while remaining grounded in clinical activity, care and support that they provide to people with learning disabilities and their families.
Thank you. An overarching success of the programme has been the opportunity to network with peers, internal and external mentors, and the value of which really cannot be understated. Participants had the opportunity to connect and support each other, learn to value each other and the contributions they each made on the programme, and to learn from each other. There's no doubt really that these relationships will remain in place and new ones will be formed beyond the programme. Because here we have a group of nurses who have developed the strength, knowledge and power to influence the future of learning disability nursing. Key words which stand out among these quotes are supportive, advocacy, being connected and inspired, which creates a feeling of optimism for the future. And all of this has been possible because the learning has taken place in a safe learning environment, which has created a space and culture for positive change. When the programme started, we were going through a time of unprecedented change. It was a stressful time for many, but despite this, nurses continued to invest time in the programme. They learned or were reminded of techniques that they could apply in their clinical workplace to support the emotional resilience of their teams. For example, checking in and checking out with each other at the start and end of the day was important for some. Using evoke cards to help people identify how they were feeling was helpful to others. The conversations were supported, enriched and meaningful. And all of which supports and encourages the value of emotional intelligence and being able to open up and be honest within communities of practitioners. Just in these 4 quotes, we can really see the value of the fellowship when participants apply their learning. Each of these quotes shares a positive insight and includes words such as celebrating success, which we are engaged in today, being able to boost morale, advocate comes up again, along with being empathetic and resilient. And again, just to re-emphasise the point, having a safe and secure learning environment to do this away from clinical distractions is paramount to maximise the learning potential. And then finally, up from my slides, we've seen how the programme has enabled people to reflect and think creatively about their roles. And in doing so, it's allowed them to think about the impact they have on services, both from the wider team and person-centred care perspective. And we see this echoed in the first quote. While some nurses may have been questioning the value of their roles, the programme has enabled them to see the real and positive impact they make at work. And sometimes you just need that space to step outside, reflect and talk to others. One thing that really stands out for me when evaluating the data was the value of emotional touchpoint interviewing. This appeared to have a really positive outcome for some service users through the reflections of the nurse participants. As an expert in healthcare communication, I was touched by some of the reflections provided, which enabled service users to feel listened to and most importantly heard, respected and also valued. Other course participants demonstrated to one degree or another how they used a very similar approach to interviewing colleagues and student nurses with similar effect. Thank you. Over to you, Carrie.
Thank you, Lynn. So finally, here's just a few quotes that we thought that we would share with you, because it demonstrates that the programme has enabled participants to feel hungrier, if you like, to gain knowledge and skills to improve their services and be a stronger advocate and have a stronger voice for learning disability nursing. Similarly, the ability to connect and network with each other has had a huge influence in terms of enabling them to develop a shared purpose for pushing themselves and pushing boundaries in terms of creating cultures for positive change in both their jobs, in their services and their teams, to ensure that the people in their care receive the best care possible. And this quote in the purple blob on the right-hand side, I absolutely love. It states that I initially saw myself as a lily pad in a picture connected to others by reeds. However, having completed the programme, this particular participant sees themselves and their role within the NHS and patient care as being the water in the pond, moving and adapting and enabling others to get the support and care that they need. So they really move through that journey from focusing on self to focusing on services, teams and the wider organisation, and most importantly, focused on the people that they are there to provide care and support for. So in our final slide here then, just a couple of messages from me about the importance of sustainable transformation through effective evaluation. And as an action researcher and a practice developer, I can't emphasise enough for the commissioners in the room today the importance of having participatory approaches to sustainable transformation, where you're actually measuring the impact at individual, that's participants, at team and service level and at organisational level when you're conducting evaluations, which really should be based on principles of collaboration, inclusion and participation, so that you've got a strong collective approach to focusing on what matters to you, and that you're capable of capturing process and impact data that demonstrates not only the person's journey of self-discovery, reflection and insight, but also can evidence change in values and behaviours, as well as focusing on the collective impact that people have together, using creative methods to capture that holistic impact. So actually the importance of co-production is absolutely critical to this, and enabling people to move up that ladder of co-production together, connecting the voices of everybody that's involved, focused on what matters most to them. So in our final slide here, we're just going to leave you with our further contact details if you have any questions, and our report will be due out at the end of July, where we'll share the implementation and impact framework with you. And we'd just like to say as a team what a privilege it's been to be part of this journey with FoNS and with all of you participants, and a massive congratulations to you all for completing this programme. Thank you.